Oh, hello! We are live! Hi, GameSpot viewers and readers. That was quite a surprise. Welcome to our farewell. We wanted to say goodbye to Star Wars Galaxies, and I'll look into the right camera. There we go. So obviously I wasn't prepared for that. But anyway, I'm sitting here with with Justin Covert. And
Justin
Calvert. You know what? This is something I do because you're always just as covert. So I'm sitting here with Justin Calvert. And we wanted to say goodbye to Star Wars Galaxies. And so the game goes officially offline tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So we thought we'd play and bring you into the action. And Justin, where are we right now?
So we just got so basically system messages are popping up to let us know when there are like big events happening. I got a message saying that there was something big happening here in Coronet, which is the capital city of Corellia.
Right.
So I just flew here in one of my spaceships, and it doesn't look like there's much going on, really.
Now, my understanding is that there will be, attacking hordes coming your way. So maybe we can. Is there a way we can get into your? Get into a mount or get into one of your little flying vehicles and see.
I'm gonna ride around on my big lizard here.
Oh, check that out.
Get around a little bit more quickly.
Now, see, that's why I said covert, because you're actually Justy Covert.
Yes.
In the game. So, if you're playing, feel free to come online and grief Justin in every possible way.
There. Yeah, and if you want to come grief me, we're on Starsider, one of I think only about a dozen remaining servers. Oh, okay. Look up. Maybe this is the problem.
That does seem to be a problem.
Okay, all right. That's actually pretty cool. So I guess I need to go up for a closer look. Huh?
Yeah. So are you going to get into? So the game actually patched in flight onto planets, not just in space, which you could do with the first expansion.
Speed expansion.
But you can actually now fly about. In the air and planet side. So you are actually going to get into your vehicle here, your X-Wing.
They patched it in about a year ago, I believe. We actually do ground-air combat now and all kinds of stuff, which, I don't know of any other MMO that really has attempted anything nearly as ambitious as the stuff that was attempted in this game.
So are we actually going to be able to see some of that combat here, do you think?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's a bunch of red stuff on my radar, but I'm not sure.
I'm guessing the large ship might be considered something.
Yeah, I don't know if there are like target points on it. Oh.
Well, there's.
Whoa.
Whoa! Okay. You are being shot.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
You are in trouble. Eject. Okay. Eject.
X-wing versus Imperial Star Destroyer.
It's really not going to go well, is it?
Yeah, that didn't go very well. Yeah, that was the opposite of good.
So Justin, since we're saying a fond farewell to Star Wars Galaxies, can you tell us about some of your favorite memories that you've had playing this game?
Oh man, like I remember I bought, so this was my first MMO, and I bought it maybe a month or two after it came out. I really didn't know what I was getting myself in for with MMOs, period. And yeah, back then, oh wow, I think this ship is actually just trashed. So I'm gonna have to try and get out of it by typing in /land. Yeah, back then they didn't even have mounts in the game. So, oh wow, this is a great place to land. Yeah, sorry, so yeah, they didn't even have mounts in the game back then, so you had to walk everywhere. And I mean, you played, Kevin, so you know, like these, not only are these planets and stuff huge, but missions could be really far apart. Like,
yeah, they really could be.
It'd be like, you would take a mission and it would generate it like 3 miles away in game, and then you would walk 3 miles in game to get to it. So.
Well, I remember too, at least at launch, and this was kind of fixed up later, but at launch, you could go for long stretches without seeing a creature to fight. Without running into really anything to do during that trip.
Yeah, and that's because when you went to get missions for most of the professions, it was when you accepted a mission that it would then generate the objective somewhere in the world. So if your mission was to go and, destroy a nest of dewbacks or something, that nest of dewbacks didn't exist in the world and until you accepted that quest. So really, when you were encountering a lot of these things, you were encountering other players' quest objectives. And actually what happened was, because some of them were so far away, you would end up, you would stand at the terminal and keep accepting and declining quests and, accepting it until you got one that was at least somewhat close by.
Right.
So I'm just going to open up my terrible UI here and find. Oh, actually, I'm not. I'm on the wrong planet, aren't I? I'm not where I thought I was. Okay, I want to get back to Coronet. So excuse me 1 second while I find Coronet. Create waypoints. So yeah, the UI. It's taken me a day or two to reacquaint myself with this UI, for obvious reasons. There's a lot of stuff to remember.
Well, a lot has changed. Let's talk about some of the ways the game changed over time, and not all of those ways were exactly welcomed by the player base.
Yeah.
Now, when I started playing, I was a creature handler, and I think you were a creature handler as well.
I was a master creature handler.
Tell us a little bit about what you remember about creature handling.
Being a creature handler in this game was awesome. Like, it's probably one of the best pet classes I think there's ever been, really, because you could take it in a lot of different directions. So, I mean, the most obvious thing was obviously just like, going out, finding animals, taming them, making them your pets, and using them in combat. I think originally you could use up to 3 pets, and I think at launch you could even have like 3 rancors or something like that would follow you around, which was pretty awesome. But then you could actually train your own mounts as well, and for a while I actually made a living in this game. I mean, not in the real world, but I made a living in game taming mounts for people. Like, I would just go out and tame all these creatures that I knew could be turned into mounts, and I would train them for people. And when you train them, it wasn't just a matter of putting a saddle on it. I actually had to train like maybe up to a dozen voice commands. So I would have the other player tell me, what do you want to say to have your pet do one of its tricks, and what do you want to say for your pet to do whatever, and like, it was actually a pretty lengthy process. But yeah, and it got to, and actually one of the things I remember originally was pets didn't shrink when you tamed them.
Right.
And so quite often you would be stood in a capital city and you would look at like a starport or something, and you would just see some giant creature's head poking out of the top of it or something, because it was clipping through, because someone had decided to take their ridiculously big pet inside a building.
Now, some readers are pointing out that they hear some music in the background.
Yeah.
The reason, and I meant to mention this when we started, and I got caught off guard, is the CBS holiday party is actually happening right here in the building, and we are missing our company holiday party so that we could come here and ride across Corellia.
Yeah, sorry about that. I will be back in Coronet soon.
Well, the good news is that while you do that, we've actually gotten together some clips of some folks on YouTube who've been experiencing some of the events in the game throughout the day. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what those readers have been up to, and what those users have been up to, and see what kind of adventures there were to be found on the closing day of Star Wars Galaxies.
And how much money I've spent on that game.
Wow,
emotion is
so
going
this,
into
I
that
believe,
game.
is I think this is a girl who's been playing every day for 6 years or something since she was 15.
I'm a role player on that game. My character's
So yeah,
name
she's
is
a bit upset.
X.A. Delphic.
And I'm a master of understatement.
And
Well, that is somebody who feels very strongly about her loss,
Yeah.
and it's true. I mean, if this is a virtual world, right? And when you get involved in your world and it's taken away, there's going to be a period of mourning.
I gotta say, I mean, I haven't played this game. Whoa, that was a weird. Okay, I just got walked back, and now I've left my mount behind. That's fine. Yeah, I gotta say, now that I've kind of revisited the world for a bit, wow, that is.
What the heck is
giant
that?
That's like a giant Ewok, possibly. Yeah, it's an undead Ewok or something. It's a giant Ewok. Yeah, so I was playing a little bit last night, and The GMs have just really been, putting their powers to good use and just doing crazy stuff. So I was in the middle of Mos Eisley last night, and they were just randomly spawning AT-ATs and undead rancors and all kinds of cool stuff just for players to kill and have fun with.
Right.
So sorry, I'm just trying to get to the starport here so I can head back to Tatooine, because I know for sure that there is stuff happening there. Yeah,
it's a pity that we thought we'd go to Coronet because there was an in-game message.
Yeah, there was a message saying there was like huge, awesome stuff happening here, and then we got there, and I guess, as far as I know, those Imperial Star Destroyers aren't normally there. But yeah. So the crazy thing is, like, in its heyday, all of these capital cities were just full of people, and and back prior to the combat upgrade, which was when they changed the class system completely. I mean, you had everything from if you went into a cantina, it was full of players who were playing as dancers, and you went and you would watch dancers for a period of time and tip them and stuff to get buffs that would help you in combat.
They were professional buffers. They would go in there. They would dance. There was a musician class, so you could play musical instruments.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that people took the time to master those Of course, actually, those were largely away from keyboard professions.
Yeah, those are things that you did when you didn't have to interact with the game.
Yeah, you just set up a macro and then kind of watch it go. Wow, I've taken a really long.
I'm so glad we could bring this exciting footage to our viewers today.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
should have stayed where the fireworks.
Yeah, should have stayed where the fireworks were. But yeah, and it does give us a chance to see you in flight, hopefully, as we saw before. And that's something I never got to experience. I never actually played the Jump to Lightspeed expansion or anything. Once I played the vanilla game, I stopped after many hours invested.
Right.
So, but I remember, fellow GameSpot editor Carolyn Pettit and I would. This is before either one of us were here at GameSpot. We would actually play together, and I remember at the very beginning, one of my first memories was how we would both independently log in to the same server, and we would be able to chat, but we would not actually see each other in the game or be able to interact, and we would actually be in empty versions of the world where nobody else existed.
So these are, I want to see, oh, okay, so yes, I think there's a problem with my X-Wing. I don't know if I could see if it'll let me even fly it. I wasn't going to
Chassis is at 0%.
I wasn't going to, oh, yeah. Oh, it might still let me go. So I'm going to go, see, Naboo, I'm just going to go back to Tatooine for right now, go back to Mos Eisley. I know there's stuff going on there. So I'm not going to, I haven't actually messed with...
You can't fly.
Okay, alright, so we won't use that ship. Wow, I blew up my X-Wing. Alright, I'll use my...
Now, is there a way to get them back? I mean, once you've destroyed...
Probably you have to repair a lot of those parts individually, because one of the things that happened when Jump to Lightspeed came out, I was totally caught off guard, because I went out and just bought what I thought was, a complete ship. And realized that actually all I had bought was a chassis, and I then had to buy, a reactor. I had to buy weapons. I had to buy armor, because your ship actually became almost like a second character that you were trying to find upgrades for and new parts for and all this kind of stuff. So it actually took a really long time to get a ship assembled. Okay, let me just get my ship here. This one that I didn't get blown up. My Y-wing should still be. Okay, there we go.
And there we go. When we see the fireworks, which looks pretty great.
They've got fireworks, and they have a lot of Rebel ships doing flybys, because at least on this server, the Rebels won the Galactic Civil War. I think there's about 12 or 13 servers still running as of right now, and I think certainly on the majority of those, I think 8 or 9 of them, the Rebels have won.
So you've got a lot of red around you. Is there anything? We'd love to see some combat if it's possible to see some combat. Let's excite things up a little bit if possible.
All right. Whoa.
And for those of you,
barrel roll. There you go. You wanted excitement? I bring you excitement.
And for those of you just tuning in, we are saying goodbye to Star Wars Galaxies. this evening. This is the last day the game is live, and it will be gone in an hour and a half or so, forever and ever. So, and if you hear the music in the background, that's because the CBS holiday party is happening. But we are taking our time away from that. We could be drinking. Instead, we are in Mos Eisley.
So I'm just trying to go where all those blue and purple dots are, because that's where players are, and presumably they are there for a reason. Here we go. So this is...
Stand by for a group photo.
I've been getting some compliments on my armor actually playing the last day or two, because let's see if I can. Whoa, that's. Oh, wow, these buttons are totally different to what I was playing with before. But this is like a Republic Commando armor that I don't even know if I don't know if it's been available for a really long time. I think I got it about 5 years ago.
Right.
So where was all that red stuff? Ah, see. So that's the weird thing. So creature handlers, right? They definitely took out of the game. And if you look in my data pad here, a bunch of my old pets are in here. I can't summon most of them anymore. But the thing that's weird is they now have Beastmaster as a profession, which can complement your chosen class.
Right.
But I haven't been able to figure out. I did try to spend a few points in it, but it. Okay, I need to get to where the red dots are. There's nothing going on here.
Fireworks or something.
Fireworks or something.
Yeah.
So where are the red dots? There were loads of them.
They're there now. Are they just up in the air? Is there lots of space combat going on?
Maybe. Is it space combat that's happening?
I don't know.
Oh, you know, I wonder if it's something weird like... No, it can't be. I just wonder if it's something crazy like fireworks are showing up as enemies or something like...
Oh, that could be.
Something strange like that.
But not when you were on the ground.
Whoa. Thrown through by episode 1 ships.
People in chat talking about hoping to go and see what's going on in Coronet, although that's where we were.
That's where we went, and there didn't seem to be anything there. I think Theed was the other place that maybe had stuff going on.
Yeah, there was
so
stuff going on in Theed as well.
Theed. Okay, we'll try Theed. I'll just go back to this starport. And I went to Jabba's palace earlier because I was convinced there would be cool stuff happening there, but it was deserted when I got there.
I think there were endgame events involving Jabba, but apparently they were not in his palace.
Yeah, I think some of it might have been happening at the Sarlacc pit.
Well, let's go ahead and go over to Theed.
Yeah.
And see what might be happening there. It looks like this is mostly the social stuff happening here.
Well, okay, so this guy has been made very large. That I think is something that was going on with Jabba, where just just for this kind of last day or so that the game is live.
Right.
If you talk to Bib Fortuna, I think he could just make you really, really big. Okay, so Starship Terminal. Choose a ship that works. Travel. Now, when I logged into this for the first time in years, like yesterday or the day before, I couldn't remember how to do, very much, and I was trying to. I'd actually forgotten completely that I could travel this way with my own ship, so I was trying to buy a ticket for, the equivalent of like a bus, like
right.
the kind of, I forget what they call it, the shuttle that will take you off to another planet, and it wouldn't let me buy a ticket because my inventory was full.
Oh.
Like, can you imagine a game doing that today? Like, just, oh yeah, you can't buy this ticket just to get you from A to B because you're carrying weapons and armor.
But this was, this game came out and truly was a sandbox. You could, you had player-run cities. Talk about some of the stuff that you could.
Me here. I really hope I'm not flagged for PvP.
I honestly, I hope you are flagged for PvP.
Well, so the thing is, before I flag for PvP, I have another set of armor that I want to change into, which might be rubbish by today's standards, but when I got it, it was pretty. Oh yeah, see, check this out. These ships aren't normally here, as far as I know. That's pretty cool. So I guess on Coronet they've got the Imperial ships overhead.
Oh, you got stuff happening here.
And then this is like, I mean, this was always the sort of Imperial. Yeah, so they're not shooting me. I'm not flagged.
Well, I think that's something that we should change.
If I flag for PvP, I don't know that feed is the place for me to do it, because this is like the Imperial capital. That's pretty cool. Those ships overhead, though, huh?
Yeah.
That never used to be there. Alright, let me. Well, I see where. Alright, Doabo Goafel is under attack from a Wampa. So is this a place I can find and get to? I can barely read this. I totally don't see it on there.
It could be on a different planet.
There is a Wampa horde attacking and I can't find it. And this used to be another just huge hive of activity coming to Theed and Coronet. They were the two.
Well, this is one of the first places you actually go. We're looking now. You can see some of the, earlier some grouping there.
Yeah, I mean nowadays. Oh, sorry. I mean, when the game first launched, I remember they didn't start you on any of the major planets. Do you remember? Like when I first started, I remember I was just on some planet I'd never heard of called Talus, and again, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, so I was like, oh, I'm going to finish everything on Talus before I go to another planet, and it was just like, and then I realized that was a really stupid thing was on Talus. I was like, nobody there. I remember meeting one guy who was really nice to me. He's like, oh, I'm a master tailor or something. I can make you some new threads, and and then I had to walk about 6 miles to get to his place and have him make a new outfit for me. It actually didn't give me any benefits at all. It was just cosmetic. But I thought it was very cool at the time. Okay, I know where to go. If I'm going to flag for PvP, I'm going to go back to Coronet, and I'll flag for PvP there. See, Endor, there was supposed to be stuff going on as well. Should we try Endor real quick?
We could.
There was supposed to be...
Doesn't hurt.
So I think it might have already happened, which is unfortunate, but I think one of the big events today, like the big... it was like a big PvP event where they were actually going to recreate the Battle of Endor and have you fighting over the shield generator. Which would have been pretty neat.
I see a little purple on your... on your mini map.
There's a few dudes around for sure. Oh, look, the Death Star. Is that? I don't know. Is that supposed to be the Death Star on fire? You think? I'm gonna guess that the Death Star is supposed to be in flames, and that. Oh, someone is very nicely telling me that there's a party at the Sarlacc pit, so maybe that's where I'll head next. So I'm going to guess that Death Star is in flames. What do you think? I
think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Shall we get to the Sarlacc pit?
So I guess we missed the fight there. But yeah, the Death Star never used to be here on Endor. Okay. Oh, it's PvP going on continuously on Endor at the bunker. Apparently. Okay, well,
so you want to go to the bunker and do some PvP, or?
Where's the bunker? Oh, there we go. Show contested zones. So the rebels have all of them. Show weapons. Show smuggler. Wow, they so don't make this easy. I want to find a bunker. Oh, here we go. Galactic Civil War. Wow, sorry, none of this stuff means anything to me. I don't see the word bunker here anywhere, do you?
No.
You know what? I'm going to head to the Sarlacc pit.
Let's do the Sarlacc pit.
I know I have the
and
waypoint for that.
Let's
Before I
do
can
something
that-
exciting.
Are you mocking me, Kevin?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Are you not excited by me walking around and being lost and trying to find stuff?
I could never potentially say anything negative about
check
the
this
man
out.
who signs
Red
my
alert, a group of
paychecks.
Imperial troops have been spotted entering the area. It just said that.
Well, let's do it.
So I don't see any red dots though. There should be red dots all over my screen, shouldn't there?
Make it happen. Follow the people running. Join the group. You got group
I
invitation.
will join that group. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Whoa. Oh, really?
You do not have a mount.
I don't
nearly
want to
that good.
solo that thing, do I?
No.
Wow, what is that even? I've never seen anything like that. And it's, I guess I scared it off. Or was that,
I thought that was one of your party members.
was he right? No, I'm in a group with this guy
Oh, okay.
who's over here. I'm grouped with this guy who, he looks like he's about level 1 or something. He doesn't even have a gun. Oh, he has pets though. Oh, that's all right. I'm impressed.
Is it time to get in your?
I'm impressed. I'll get on my bark speeder.
That's not as impressive as what he's on.
Are you kidding? Check this thing
It's
out.
cool though.
Okay, apparently I just have to type /PVP, and then I go. Okay, now I'm on active. Oh, and this is all right. This is an Imperial. So I should probably get up. Okay, so I've gone PvP and now they're spawning everywhere. What? Oh, get off there. Get off the mount, please.
Apparently, there's some stuff going on Mustafar as well.
Okay, alright. Let's see how I get on here. Shoot this guy, please. Why am I only targeting my speeder? Oh, come on. Please target this guy. I have to type /target a stormtrooper. I kid you not. Oh, he's managed to target me now. That's not good. Okay, there we go. Unfortunately,
You're gonna die, Justin.
yeah, I probably am. It's okay. It's a temporary setback. I haven't really done much combat since I hurriedly spec'd my guy yesterday because I had to. So my character was on a different server. This wasn't the server I used to play on. So when they moved me here, none of my spec and everything was there. Like I still
You're
had
gonna die already.
points to spend. Yeah, that's okay. Now I can. And the other problem is I know that my shield generator does not work. The one that I have on this guy.
Right.
This is painful.
You got stuff going on though.
Okay, where's my? I have all these different abilities.
That's not an enemy, is it? There we go.
Oh. Did I kill that guy?
Yeah, I think you shot that dude.
All right, I sniped him. Did I just say I was too tired for something? Can't be too tired. Have I really done anything? I did kill that guy, right?
Yeah, do it. This is your last chance to play this game.
I know.
Fight.
It doesn't. I think it
doesn't matter if he's out of your league.
I think all the enemies are gone right now. Yeah, it looks like they're all dead.
What about that mercenary that says out of range? There you go.
Whoa. So I can snipe him too.
This
I'm not. Am I?
says you can't see the target. I'm pretty sure I can see him.
I can see him. Where is he? Is he
He's on the other side
is
of
he
the
behind
fence,
little
and therefore.
fence? Yeah. Oh, boom. Oh, he has a buddy. Shoot, please. Oh, come on. What's going on? I feel like I'm pressing my keys to shoot, and instead I'm walking sideways.
There you go. You're too tired.
Yeah, apparently.
You were snared? So do you think it's worth going to Mustafar to see...
Is that on this planet?
That I don't know.
I don't know where Mustafar
But apparently there
is.
I don't think it's on Endor though.
Yeah. Wow, God, these maps are bad. How do I... Looks like... Wow, this is driving me crazy. I'm not even sure where the... Where was that? Oh, is this where the Starship terminal is?
It's a ticket terminal there. There you go, Starship terminal.
Come on.
So if you're just joining us, we're here in Star Wars Galaxies after so much time away to see what might be happening in the final moments as the game is coming to a close. So thanks for joining us. You can hear the noise of our CBS party in the background. Today is our holiday party, and instead of joining in there, we are here to see what's going on at in the final time of Star Wars Galaxies. And unfortunately, Justin's having trouble
letting me choose my ship.
Getting to a ship. You have to buy a ticket. You shouldn't have to, right? These are your ships.
No, I should be able to fly my own ship.
But somebody's just given you the waypoint for the Endor bunker. Just 700, 4,500.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what to do with that. So what's 700?
700, and then negative 4,500.
Negative 4,500. So where's that? That's...
and then it'll be south of there, right?
Wow, this is 700. Negative 4,500. This is down here somewhere. I can't
So
even
there you
see
go.
where
It's
okay,
down
so it's
Arachne
west.
Widow.
So it's west and a little bit south from where I am, right? Okay, so first I need to remember how to enable my coordinates. Interface. Come on, please be here. There we
Enable
go.
coordinate display.
Okay, let's get on a mount. Give me my mount, please. I feel like this is becoming not very responsive. I'm having trouble even getting clicks to register.
Was that two?
This one's speeder.
Maybe you can only use certain
Cool.
mounts in this area? Or maybe you're too close to the city?
No, you should be able to do it.
Because it looks like your
Absolutely.
mini
should
thing
be
is...
able to.
there you go, you've left the
I
outpost.
should be able to spawn one of my speeders. Oh no, connection
Oh,
lost.
the connection was lost.
That's why it's getting laggy, because the server is about to crash again.
Well, let's see if we can hang on. That's been happening
It's been
throughout
happening,
the day, right?
Yeah, intermittently, kind of all day.
Well, in the
yeah,
meanwhile,
it's
maybe we can take a look at some of those YouTube videos because other people have been enjoying the end day events. Let's take a look and see what kinds of things we were able to find out there in the wide world of the internet.
So this, I'm guessing, is, so I can't see where they are, but, I mean, this looks a lot like what I had going on last night, where, as I said, like, the GMs were just randomly spawning all these crazy things into the world, and they're actually taking requests as well. And then, even with, I mean, when I was playing last night, there were probably a couple hundred people playing, and it was still taking a pretty long time to bring these enemies down. I mean, they were ridiculously overpowered, and it's the kind of enemies that GMs have access to just so they can bring it in if players are causing trouble or something. It's like, oh, we're going to spawn in this enemy that's going to kill you all, and so yeah, looks like our server is still loading up.
Oh, and here we go. We're seeing
giant wampa.
Yes,
Yeah, I saw one of those last night.
but nobody hanging upside down from the ice.
No. It's kind of it's weird, the frame rate on this game, and we're playing here on I mean, this is one of the new machines that we got, and they're pretty powerful, and the frame rate on this game still isn't great. But
well, that's always been kind of the thing with this game is that I mean, when it came out, it was pushing hardware for sure. But the thing we discovered over time with the engine is that it really didn't scale well over time, and it didn't matter how good your hardware got. The engine was just gonna slog along. You were mentioning making money before. What are some of the ways that you use to make money?
There was,
in this game, besides just creature handling.
Yeah, there were a lot of different ways you could make money in the game. While I was still doing creature handling, I actually had there's so many things you could do. So I bought a second house because obviously I had like player housing. I bought a second house. I set it up as a store, and I had vendors in there that sold nothing but milk and meat. And that was at a time when the chef profession was really popular because there were really powerful buffs that you could get with food, like player-created food. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that I was playing Star Wars Galaxies and spending my days kind of walking through herds of dewbacks and whatever and milking them. It's like, I mean, what kind of a Star Wars adventure is that? But I was way into it, and I was part of a huge guild. We had a huge town,
and there we see.
Oh yeah, this is a petition, I think, that someone started back in June, and I believe it has something like 5,000 signatures now for people that still want to keep playing. This game has been a really big part of people's lives, and it was for me for a while there. I mean, I used to give up my Friday nights to sit in on guild council meetings, which is really. Looking back on it, it's like, what was I thinking, really? I mean, it'd be one thing to give up my Friday night to play the game, but to give up my Friday night to go sit and, attend a meeting,
right?
It's not something I think I would do now.
We know, and of course, Star Wars Galaxies is not the first MMO by any stretch to come to a close. There we go. Where I think we might be online before we get in.
I'll give it 30 seconds or so before I try and log in. It's been a bit crazy.
But I liked Asheron's Call 2 immensely, and that game, and that was interesting because, of course, Asheron's Call, the original, is still going, and Asheron's Call 2 was in many ways a very different game from the original Asheron's Call. So it was much more user friendly, and I always term it as the WoW before WoW in terms of the way it invited new people to come aboard, and it was very user friendly. And yet still a lot of fun, and at the time, an extremely beautiful looking game. I was very sad when that went off, and I played Earth and Beyond, and that game bit the dust. Of course, long after I was, well, not long, but after I was playing, and Tabula Rasa, and of course even earlier this year, APB didn't last for very long at all. Although it is back with APB Reloaded, so you can still play APB if you want. But we're still waiting to connect to the Galaxy and trying to get into Endor.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the one thing this game is, coming back to this game, the thing it's really brought home to me is just how much more accessible MMOs have become now, certainly, especially post-WoW. Because, when this came out, MMOs were still very, very much a kind of niche thing, right? But now they're obviously mainstream, and it's hard to imagine a game with as much depth as this ever being, that mainstream. I mean, you talk about ways to make money in this game. There were people who, they ended up being like huge corporations in this game, like player-run corporations, pretty much. Okay,
I just don't. There we go.
Slowing my speeder. All right, I'm going to 7. Oh, come on.
That'll teach you. You should
okay.
probably clear your cloning sickness. I did notice that your health bar has been relatively low.
I don't remember how to do any of this stuff. Well, if I get there, there'll be a cloning thing close to there, won't there? I'm gonna risk that.
More fun to go out and look for the action.
I'm really grateful to you guys trying to help me in chat, by the way. You guys clearly have played more recently than I have.
Yeah, that's the rough part. I mean, you've been away for quite a long time.
I've been away since I reviewed the Wookiee expansion, basically.
And that has been quite a while.
That's been a pretty long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so in addition to all the player-created cities and that kind of stuff, like you could actually have like player-created wind farms, and player-created things that look like kind of oil derricks and stuff that were mining for minerals and all this kind of stuff. And people had tons and tons of these things, and they had to spend time going around maintaining them. And for a while, it really was kind of like a job, I think, for a lot of people.
And a lot of people mentioning that you should cure your sickness. We do
know,
yeah. It's just that for the sake of the fun.
I know, and also honestly, it'll take me 5 minutes to even find the cloning place to do it, because I had completely forgotten that even existed.
You can offer to play your guild sponsorship.
All right, I graciously accept.
You are now a guild member of Sinister. An hour,
an hour or
plus
so
before the
game
game comes to a close. So congratulations,
guild.
Justy Covert.
Yeah.
So you can't blame me too bad for messing up your last name at the beginning of the show.
No, that's all good. Okay, so we're getting there. I'm obviously going to die really quickly once I get there, I guess.
That's all right. That's part of the fun, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even max level with this guy. I'll point that out as well. Like, I'm not sure if the level cap got raised or exactly what happened, but I maxed out my character as a creature handler, and then I had to I chose to respect a bounty hunter when creature handlers were removed from the game, but I never maxed out that profession. Whoa, what's going on?
You have to be an active duty member of the Empire Rebel Alliance to enter this PvP area.
Okay. So I need to type /PvP again. You are now a combatant. There we go.
Go for it.
I am now ready to go get killed. I mean, the good news is the rebels have won on here, so hopefully we outnumber the Imperials wherever it is that I'm about to go. This big bunker.
And you're almost there.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh, you are in trouble.
Dude, really? You shot my thing up already?
Wow, you did not last.
Wow, I'll check this out. I can take out a bounty against.
Do it. Do it. It doesn't hurt.
I have over 6 million credits, so yeah. How do I? All right, I'm going to set a bounty of 1 million credits to kill that guy who just blew up my speeder.
Do it. Now people are saying come back to research.
Oh.
So go back to.
Oh, it's going to take me back somewhere totally different.
Somebody's going to buff you.
Yeah, but I need to spawn. Where should I? Oh, okay, cloning center. So I have to go to research or smuggler. So,
well, research is closer anyway.
Who's the? Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, I'm gonna. If anyone wants to help me with lots of buffs and stuff, like Jennifer, who is messaging me right now, I'm gonna go to the research outpost and. Oh wow, that was lame. Wow, so now I've lost my X-wing and my speeder. It's a good job they're closing this game down. Otherwise, I would be bummed.
Did you just say it's a good thing they're closing this game down? I don't think that's a very popular point of view.
From a very selfish point of view, the fact that I'm going around just getting all my stuff blown up for fun, for other people's amusement.
So, Justin, is this the first time you've ever been part of a game that's being shut down? Whoa.
I think it is actually. Yeah, I don't think I've ever. Yeah, I mean, what other MMOs have I played? I played Aeon, I played Anarchy Online, but not a great deal. EVE Online, which is still going. Star Trek Online, which is still going. Can I stand up? Did I really come back here as like a corpse or something?
It says corpse of Justy Covert.
But I came... That kind of defeats the purpose of me coming back here, doesn't it? Wow, this is ridiculous.
Is it just a login problem?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I am not supposed to be a corpse right now. I'm even less effective in combat as a corpse as I was when I was alive.
Do you think the server might have gone down again and we're just in limbo right now?
That would not surprise me. Sorry, I'm just going to put out a call for help here. Oh man, this is not how the Star Wars Galaxies is supposed to end for me.
Not with a bang, but a whimper in this case.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Jennifer, there we go. It seems the rebels are crashing the server.
Oh man. So the server is probably going to crash, huh? No, man, I want to show off my other armor.
Jennifer
hang
has
on.
this to say.
Hang on, but I'm a rebel, so how was she planning to buff me? Maybe she thought I was an Imperial.
Well, maybe it's... could be. You know I'm a rebel, right? What have you done? You've been part of this inadvertent crashing.
She's not online anymore. So
Oh.
I guess the server is
The server must have been
again.
in trouble. Well, it would be a shame if this is how the server goes down, crashing by you stupid rebels. What were you thinking, Justin?
Oh man.
I know, right?
I'm still really annoyed that guy blew up my speeder bike.
We've
by
got
the way.
another 10 minutes or so, while we hopefully get the server, get into a running server. You want to try logging out?
I can try and log
back
out.
in?
And, I mean, I have like new. The problem is the characters I have on other servers are like new characters that I really didn't ever play. And actually, I definitely know
logged in with the wrong
last
person,
time I
didn't you?
logged in as this guy, he was just in some weird limbo somewhere because I logged out on a space station or something, and then when I logged back in as him, so I'm gonna skip this.
What?
When I tried to log back in as him,
You're
he's
aboard a
just
space
like
station.
this.
So it starts purple and then it fades to black.
And
So you logged in as the wrong character, but that's all right. He's just sitting there, nowhere to go.
In limbo. He is not the right guy to be playing as right now. Okay, let me see if I can log in as my guy.
It does say loading, so it looks like we did lose
so
the
server did crash.
lose the connection. Well,
Damn.
GameSpot editor Carolyn Pettit is actually over there in the wings. Maybe she'd like to sit down and join us for a moment.
There's a mic handy, but
There were two mics there, yeah. So hopefully somebody's back there and is able to get and the mic is running. But it would be nice to maybe hear some of your stories from the good old days of Star Wars Galaxies. For Justin, this was your first MMO.
It was.
It was not mine, but at the time I was playing Anarchy Online, and
I don't know if I'm coming through on this mic.
I have no idea.
I hear your voice
Okay.
coming from the other room.
So I actually, like, the whole idea of a Star Wars MMO got me so psyched that I actually purchased an upgraded PC so that I could play it. Which I remember. So you guys earlier were talking about like missions and how when you would accept a mission, like that would generate the mission objective.
Yeah.
What I remember happening for me was I would accept a mission from some like podunk town on Tatooine, and the objective would generate, but often before I could even get to it, some other player would kill the Imperials that I was tasked with defeating or whatever.
Right.
So sometimes you could just and you still got some kind of reward for that, but definitely not as substantial as the experience that you got if you went and did it yourself. But still, sometimes I would just accept missions and just kind of oh, it's too far away. Well, I'll just wait 30 seconds and I bet it's going to get taken care of. And it would be. So there was definitely some serious issues with the way it handled quests and stuff in those early days.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think this was ever even changed. I remember one of my early memories was that, you could basically run up really steep hills without any penalty to your run speed or anything like that.
Definitely.
And I remember that, and it's actually...
But you needed that.
You did need that.
Because you didn't have a mount and you had 6 miles to go. You need to go in a straight line.
Well, while we wait, let's kind of talk about how MMOs have changed. Now, this was not an early MMO.
No. I mean, EverQuest, and many other MMOs predated this by a significant period
Sure.
of time.
But now, here we have a game where you had player housing, and you were talking about guilds getting together, and you had, this mission system, and you had, eventually you had space flights and all of these things, and it was very much a sandbox MMO. This was your adventure.
Yeah.
Compare that to, say, something that you're playing now. How do you think that compares?
Well, it actually changed even just within Star Wars, because they went from this very open sandbox thing in the original game. Then they added spaceflight, which was awesome. But then with the Wookiee expansion, it was actually a lot closer to what we're seeing now in like Old Republic, where it was, areas that appeared to be very open, but actually there were, definitely kind of corridors through,
Right.
and it was very carefully structured missions, and it was a complete departure from, every other, like, what's the Wookiee planet called? Like Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk.
So yeah, Kashyyyk was just a completely different planet to every other planet in this galaxy.
Yeah. I was away from Star Wars Galaxies for years, and then a friend of mine kind of wanted to check it out, so I signed back up, after years of being away. And I don't know if it was the combat patch or something. Combat upgrade, but some massive, like, fundamental change had taken place, and it was obviously, like, in many ways trying to be modeled or to take some of the concepts that you see in WoW. Like, I started referring to it as like World of War stars, because it just seemed like it had the experience bar across the bottom, and like all these little interface things that just, I get why they did that. WoW knows what it's doing. It knows how to keep people invested and playing and things like that. But I don't know. It felt like it maybe had, in trying to kind of narrow its focus, it maybe lost some of what set it apart at the same time.
Right.
At the beginning, entertainers, dancers, musicians, the whole idea, even before the game launched, seemed crazy to me. Like, who wants to play a Star Wars game? Because, like, the Star Wars experience they want is, like, to be a dancer in a cantina or something. Like, that's nobody's Star Wars dream. And yet,
I was a master politician for a while.
A politician? I don't think I even...
And you could be an architect.
Yes.
And you got your XP by designing the town and stuff like that. It was
cool.
It was
the way
really
that,
crazy.
It was crazy, but at least it was neat the way that doing your sort of chosen profession, you earned experience and kind of leveled up in that field for doing those things.
Yeah. The thing we totally have to talk about, which was the thing that the combat upgrade, one of the very significant changes of the combat upgrade was Jedi.
Oh, well,
Because think back, so when this game launched, it launched with something like, 36 professions or classes, I think, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Jedi wasn't one of them, and the only way to become a Jedi, at least that I know of early on, was you would find items called holocrons,
Right. Well,
which still exist in Star Wars lore and everything.
And to be clear, like, they deliberately kept it secret. Like, there was no information. They didn't
no one
want
told you how
players-
to become a Jedi. The whole point was that they didn't want everybody playing as a Jedi.
Sure.
So what would happen? So I started down the path, and it was, you get your first holocron. They're not easy to get. You'd get them in dungeons or from bosses or whatever. And then when you opened it, it would tell you a profession to master. So if I'm a master creature handler, it might suddenly just say, okay, dancer.
Yeah.
So if I ever want to be a Jedi, I then have to master the dancer profession.
Right. Now, I don't remember, could you hang on to your creature handler expertise?
No.
Or you had, so you were basically just wiping out all the work you had done.
Yeah, you were abandoning your creature handler stuff to become a dancer.
Yeah.
And you had to go through this process, I think 3 or 4 times. I think it actually varied somewhat, because some people would get it on their 3rd holocron, and other people get it on their 8th holocron or something crazy. And every time you're basically starting the game from scratch almost and mastering a whole other class. And then at some point you would get the holocron and it would just say, the holocron remains silent. And at that point, that means you still have one more profession to master, except they don't tell you what it is.
So there might be
And there might be 30 left.
And it's just the luck of
and
the
you don't
draw.
know whether, so you
Yeah.
just you pick one and
Oh.
so you do Terrace Kasi, which is the martial artist.
Oh, them Terrace
or,
Kasi.
or there's so many dancer or doctor
Yeah,
or
yeah.
musician or whatever. And at some point, finally you would find the
hit
right
on,
one,
yeah.
and then you unlocked the Jedi thing. But then the Jedi, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
It was a separate
It was
character
a
slot.
It was a second character slot.
Yes.
And I think it wasn't permadeath as such, but I think if you died as a Jedi, you lost all your experience and had to start again. Like,
Yeah, that sounds right.
you could still play as a Jedi, but you
Right.
had to start from the beginning. And the other thing I remember, and I hope I'm not, I hope I didn't dream half this stuff, but I think if you were a Jedi and you used your powers, anytime you used them, it kind of raised your visibility. And when you became visible, your name would start appearing on bounty hunter quest terminals. So then bounty hunters would come for you and earn a lot of money for hunting you
It's
down.
a dangerous life to be a Jedi.
Yeah, it was awesome though, because
Yeah.
you never saw a Jedi. And
right.
if you saw a lightsaber, you got so excited.
Right, and that's the way. I mean, this is set in the period of like right after I think Episode 4.
Right.
So there's not supposed to be Jedi like running
Right.
around everywhere. They're supposed to be practically non-existent. So I totally understand their reasons for making it as difficult a process as it was. Like I'm not saying it's a good experience for the player at all, but you understand like, well, we need a way to make sure that there's like hardly any Jedi around.
Right.
That should do it.
And there's a sense of earning something when you do something like that, as opposed to a lot of MMOs nowadays, which are very interested in continually keeping
They
you
just
rewarded.
dole out rewards very
Sure.
very regularly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it worth trying? It still says that the
still
server is
says the
loading. Is it worth
server's
trying to get
loading.
in there, even if?
I can try, but no.
No, it's.
It's not happening, man. I hope that isn't the end of the server. That would be a bummer.
Well, the word was earlier anyway that there were some servers that
Some of them went down
that
already,
just went
right?
down. I don't know if that was just
I mean,
word on the street or
at
if there
some
is
point,
truth to that.
I guess at some point SOE doesn't want to have all their people trying to keep these things up, and
Right.
when actually they just want to take them down again.
But it sounds like we are sort of going out with a whimper rather than the bang, in the sense that this does bring us to the conclusion of our very unusual visit to Star Wars Galaxies in their final throes.
Always been a very unusual game, so maybe that's appropriate in some way.
But here's some fireworks and Mos Eisley to allow us to say goodbye. I appreciate Justin Calvert. Thank you very much for joining us at this final look at Star Wars Galaxies. Carolyn Pettit, thanks for coming in at the last minute and joining us. I was your host, Kevin Van Ord. Be on the lookout on the site. We do have more Star Wars coverage coming up. Obviously not with Star Wars Galaxies, but with another Star Wars game you may have heard of called Star Wars: The Old Republic, another MMO. But we are not interested in that so much as
Does
saying
anyone
goodbye.
want this? Who wants this?
Are we? Yeah. Can we give
That
this?
is a
give
collector's
this away?
item. Let's give this away.
We should give this away.
We've got it's still in it's wrapping.
Just ping it. Just
inside,
ping
so-
us on our Twitter account at GameSpot if you want it, and we'll pick someone and we'll get it to you.
Yeah, we'll
It's
pick
still
someone random
sealed.
and send it out to you.
Yeah.
And actually, I have another one, which is the what's it? It's not the starter kit. It's the one that has all the
The complete
first two
experience?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
complete,
complete
experience.
experience. There you
and
go.
that's still sealed too.
So yeah, thanks for joining us. Send a tweet to @GameSpot if you're interested in this collector's item, which will forever sit on your bookshelf somewhere, looking pretty. But speaking of looking pretty, thanks to my fellow editors, and thanks to you for joining us. And we'll see you next time on some other show. Bye.